Episode 1 of the vlog. So this weekend was awesome. My soon-to-be wife, Serafina, had a dance showcase where they had all these awesome dances.
And a father should be great.
She had a solo. And then they got to share the gospel at the end, which was really awesome and done really, really well. And a lot of people kept talking about how impactful it was and how awesome it was to see dance used in such a way. The other awesome thing is I got to have some of my best friends in the world here on campus.
Like, cut, yeah, just like cut into it, yeah. But
John and Nachi were both out here, and they got to see campus and got to see my classes and got to see the things that I do, and they got to come to the showcase, and we got pizza and hung out, and it was just a great time. They also got to meet some of my friends here and play games, which was really funny. John and Nachi were two people that I thought would be awesome to start episode 1 with, in just this idea of starting conversations and bringing different perspectives, because they're both doing things that I think are really unique and really interesting because they're just so far out there and things that take a lot of dedication, a lot of work. So I wanted to sit down and talk with them about what drives them and what drives them to do what they're doing and where their faith plays into all of that. So here's that conversation.
My name is John Debsky. I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and my current career path is in mixed martial arts.
Benachi Pilato. I am currently studying mechanical engineering at Liberty University. Have been flying a little bit, but I'm headed to Sydney, Australia to be studying some aerospace engineering. So
I think you guys are both just doing like really unique and like different things than most people. And so I wanted to talk about where do you find your drive in doing those things, and what causes you to like want to pursue them. Your like big dream would be like first man to Mars, right?
yeah, I would. That's the plan. Every time I look up at the night sky, I just like feel this pull towards space and towards what is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of assimilate it to, like, we call space the final frontier, right? The first, like, original explorers, they were, the Lord used them to explore the land and create the nations. And then we ventured into the sea and explored more land. And then we started exploring the sea. And then once we got over the sea, we started exploring the air. And then once we got over the air, we started exploring space. And so over time, the Lord kept putting in these explorers and these adventurers and these people that were just wanted to pioneer what the unknown. And I just really feel like just because we've pioneered the planet doesn't mean that the Lord would stop creating pioneers. And so I feel that that's kind of how He has wired me into that exploration, that adventure. And so it's kind of my duty, since everything else has been discovered, like the final frontier is like what I have left to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's why I feel such a draw towards space and towards Mars, is because Mars is the next planet in our solar system that we feel could be inhabitable and could harness resources and understanding, and probably links to further solar systems since it's further out from the sun. There's just so much that we could use Mars as far as research and development for mankind. So.
Yeah, and you were 100% the most adventurous person I know. You're my adventure friend. That when
I don't want anything to do with leaving the ground.
Whenever I tell people about Nachi, they're like, so he's at Liberty? I'm like, he might be. I think he might be somewhere else in the country or something else right now. I don't know.
Yeah. Definitely the most adventurous guy.
Yeah.
That I don't know. I met this astronaut from Lynchburg, Virginia, while I've been at Liberty. His name's Leland Melvin, and we've just been like talking here and there, and whenever we can meet up, we meet up, and I was telling him about Australia and just kind of my personality and loving to explore different cultures and religions and how that looks and how that is, and he's like, dude, that's like what space is all about. Like, we have the International Space Station. We get people from World War II. Right after World War II, we had Americans and Germans working together on the International Space Station. What these men that were once enemies had to come together to survive and to better mankind. And like, we all, whether we realize it or not, as humans, have this idea of like existence and of survival, and sometimes no matter where we come from or whatever beef we have with other people, we realize that there's this greater like idea, this greater scale of purpose and of this idea. It's kind of hard to synthesize. It's just like there's this thing called the overview effect that most astronauts get when they go into space. A lot of people assimilate it to a religious kind of experience, or just to this oneness with the universe. And so when they go up and they're soaring hundreds of miles above the surface of the earth, thousands of miles. They take that first look back at the earth and they just go, oh my goodness, like this is our home. Like, it's so small, but like so large, and like we're on it together. Like, we have to come together to make it work. And so it honestly, it almost removes all politics and ideas from the table, because you just start to realize that, okay, even like the most non-religious people will realize, like, wow, there's like this really big weight, there's this really big purpose to me and to that planet and everyone on it. And then obviously like the religious realize that this is the Lord opening up their eyes and revealing to them, like, we have to take care of this beautiful thing that He has put us on. And so yeah, it's just cool. Just I think in the way that the Lord has again like wired my brain is just I see kind of that this existential crisis that we have going on in mankind, and if I could have anything to do with uniting the nations and ultimately the church, I think that's a very significant part of like the work that the Lord is doing right now. I don't know if that
Yeah.
that makes
No.
sense.
Yeah. I'm tracking.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
I would say that there are a few driving forces. I think one of them is I'm just naturally an athletic person. I enjoy competition. I enjoy pushing myself and really doing what I believe that I'm capable of. Mixed martial arts, especially competition, is extremely demanding. I believe it's one of the most physically intricate and physically demanding forms of physical fitness, as well as competition. And so there's that aspect where naturally I'm just very competitive, and so it's a good outlet for me to be in. I would say another driving force for me to be in this is, eventually I want to get to the place where I could take care of my family and my future family. That's sort of a driving force. My parents have always taken very good care of me, and so I'm a giving person, and so for me, my goal is to just be able to give back to them, to kind of return the favor, and as well as do that for other people. Another driving force would be just to do that for others. I enjoy giving people just whatever, anything that would help them or give them, make situations better. And so, building up, as I come up the rankings, and one day I will be in the UFC. When I get to that place, I believe that from that place forward, I will have the tools and things to be able to start making differences in other people's lives and not just my family's. And so, I don't know. I don't like to see negativity. I don't like, negativity. There's so much of it in the world, and so I feel I like to be able to neutralize that. I like to be able to give people things or make situations better for people where there's no reason to be negative. And so I would say that those are the main driving factors.
A little bit, but how does your faith play into like what you want to do? Like how do you see a calling, and how do you see like what God wants to use you for in what you're feeling called towards?
Yeah. I've always growing up, everyone's like, oh, you should be a pastor, and I've led worship a lot for churches and even my school at Liberty, and people would just often just place me in this role of leadership that I kind of just would assume to, but never really consciously desired I need to be a leader. It just kind of comes out of me. It's almost obnoxious how much it can come out of me. But it's funny. Last year, I was at this worship concert, and I was just getting into it, how I do, and this guy came up afterwards that I literally had never seen before in my life. I think he was from out of town, and he came up to me. He's like, I was just watching you in worship, and you were just.
Were you leading?
No. I was just in the crowd, it was a Bethel concert, and I was just into it, and I don't think I even wanted to be there. It just kind of my friends were like, "Oh, let's go," and it just turned out to be this awesome night of worship. And so, this man comes up to me afterwards, and he was like, I was just watching you during worship, and you just really blessed me, and I just felt the Lord really speaking this to me. He's like, are you in any sort of do you play any sports? I was like, I mean, yeah, but not any, not really. He's like, are you on some of the teams here? He's like, no, and then he's like, well, are you in any sort of leadership position? And I was like, well, I do play on the team for the convocation and the worship team. And he was like, that's it. He's like, the Lord just wanted me to tell you that whatever leadership position that you're in and the leadership positions that you dream of, He's going to take you far beyond that. And that's not the first time. Yeah, that's not the first time I've heard that. And I have been people would just tell me throughout my life, oh, you're just gonna be this leader of men. You're just gonna be this great leader, yada yada yada. And I kind of always took it as people a lot of people just speak that into everyone's life. Everyone's a leader in some way. And then as I started talking to my friends and my family and just actually sharing some of these experiences, they're like, Nachi, not everyone receives those kind of callings and those prophecies just from random people, you know. And so kind of when I started realizing that the gravity to the Lord speaking through those people just started to, gravity, no pun intended, but just started to get heavier, and then just with this move to Australia, and just it kind of being out of nowhere, it just has, I don't know, I don't know exactly what I will be doing, as far as for the Lord, but I just know it's so funny. It's whenever say we're just walking to this recital, and they beforehand they were like, this astronaut is gonna come out and speak to us. None of us are gonna be like, oh man, an astronaut, no one wants to listen to him. It's just cool. It's whenever you hear an astronaut's coming, everyone wants to listen to them.
Yeah. Because
there's 582 of them, and no one knows what they've experienced other than themselves. And I think that's just a position of influence that I didn't even imagine and still can't even imagine. And so I just feel that through my testimony or some way, the Lord's just going to use that influence.
Yeah, so it's funny because my story is very similar to yours, where growing up, I had a lot of people, come up to me and say oh, I believe you're going to be a leader. Especially, I had a youth pastor back at an old church I used to go to youth group at. he would always tell me that he believed that I would be in some kind of leadership role.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I didn't really know how to take it. I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it
You
wasn't.
pushed back on it for a while.
Yeah, I pushed back on it. It was more of like I didn't really care. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't want, I don't want to lead people. I don't want to be,
Yeah, I get that.
because I'm very interest driven. If I'm not interested in something,
Right.
I don't care.
Mm.
And so when someone tells me about, hey, you're gonna be, I believe, you're gonna be a leader. God's calling you to be a leader. I'm just like, I'm not really interested. But as I've grown and matured and everything, I've started to notice certain places that I think God has put me, where I have taken small leadership roles, and I definitely think that there will be more down the road. But yeah, I had a youth pastor. I had a couple of youth pastors tell me that. My dad would always tell me that. And there's been a few people in the church as well that have caught me throughout the years that have said that. And yeah, I think the main thing that makes me realize that this path of life was kind of a God calling too, is just because I think the level of interest, I believe God gives everyone passions.
Right.
I believe God,
Right.
I don't think passions are just random or just self-created. I believe that God wires everyone to be
Right.
interested in something.
Design reveals the designer's will.
Right, and so
good.
Absolutely.
I believe that you need people need to find what they're passionate about and follow that. And so just the level of interest I have with this, I love the human body, like the way it moves, the way it
Yeah.
works.
Mm.
And so I think about how God created. I believe human beings are the most mobile
Right.
and versatile creatures.
Sure.
Because there's so many different things that people are capable of, not just in physical, not just in the physical realm, but also, the way that their brains work, the things that they can, create in their minds. It's just there's so much involved with that, and so, when I think about just how intricate the human body is and everything, and my interest in that, that's when I realized that this is what God's calling me to do, to pursue that. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
My hope is that in getting to listen to that conversation and hear what drives those guys and how their faith is interworked in what they're driving and seeking to accomplish, that it starts this conversation or thought process of what drives you and where you're going and how your faith or how your beliefs are going to play into that. So I appreciate you guys being here. I hope that this was something of value to start a conversation that you guys are going to continue, and subscribe, and I hope to continue to produce more conversations and more videos like this. So thanks for joining, guys, and we'll see you soon.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.